me and my brother have become the most famous brothers on the planet. So there's also a degree of jealousy involved.
I was just going to ask that. You get the Tate bros and the Paul brothers, and it's like this balance of power that's being shifted, and this
completely
sort of this dance that's happening.
It's interesting, right? Because you had the Disney brothers, the Disney brothers, who gained a bunch of power and notoriety, and they were the most famous brothers on the planet, and they've now been usurped by my brother and I, who come from a very unfortunate background and grew up in the street and did everything ourselves. And obviously, the youth of the world today have an affinity and feel a synergy with us that they don't feel with the Disney brothers, because the Disney brothers had a very easy, privileged life. You know, they grew up relatively easily and privileged. If you get a Disney contract, then you become a YouTuber. You never really know the struggle. I mean, you've had it pretty good. So there's a degree of jealousy involved. Jake at least stood up for free speech. Jake has said some negative comments about me. I've said a few negative things about him. But I have nothing personal against Jake. And also, I find it interesting that Jake and Logan are not even that close. They may pretend to be. Obviously, they're brothers. But Jake and KSI have beef. They're literally trying to hurt each other. Logan is KSI's best friend. When you ask Logan who would he choose between KSI and his brother in a boxing match, he's like, oh, I don't know, man. He can't even choose his own flesh and blood over some fucking dude he met. Their whole relationship is weird. If you insult my brother or you have any kind of problem with my brother, you have a problem with me. That's on site permanent. Like, me and my brother are like this, but they're not like that. They have this weird relationship, and they've slept with each other's girlfriends and a bunch of weird shit. So I don't know what's going on with them.
I think Logan's another guy, whether you like him or not. I think he's got the pedigree to one day run. It doesn't mean you're going to support his policies.
Correct.
But he is a guy that's going in the direction of one day running. 20, 30 years, he could do it. So maybe he's sitting there saying, what would The Rock do? He distanced himself from me. Well, maybe I got to stop defending this guy, and I got to distance myself from him. I wasn't going on the angle of, Hillary Clinton called, or all these guys. No, I was going more, what playbook is he following?
I understand exactly what you're saying, but I would disagree. And the reason I would disagree is because that requires a degree of thought and intellect that Logan Paul does not possess.
He's an idiot?
No, I know he's an idiot. He's not thinking that far ahead. He's literally, someone has told him, say this, and he says it. It doesn't matter. And it's not just me. There's been loads of examples, and I put it on my podcast on Rumble, where we went through all the times where something came up, some controversial subject that people were discussing, is this good for the public consciousness? And the answer was always basically no. Is this necessary for children to be consuming? The answer was always basically no. But it was purported by the Hollywood elites, and Logan was always the number one person sticking up for it. He is bought and sold by somebody, whether his management team, whoever they are, they think it's good for him to act this particular way. He does not think for himself. He says what he is told to say.
But isn't that Hollywood in general?
Completely.
Right?
The Matrix.
Exactly.
The Matrix. So we agree. The Matrix. The agents of the Matrix. Some minds are not ready to be freed. And those who are not ready to be freed are going to sit there and they're going to defend the system. What does Morpheus say himself? He's sitting there defending the system. Logan Paul is going to sit and pretend that the world is going to be a better place if you remove all opposing ideas. And he's going to sit there and say that because he's a moron. Anyone with a brain understands that if you care about your children and your children's children, they need to live in a world full of healthy competition, exactly as you said. As soon as you remove all opposing viewpoints or all competition, you end in tyranny. And anyone with a brain will sit and say, if he had any kind of character, he'd say, I completely do not agree with what Tate says. However, deplatforming is wrong because of X. He doesn't have to talk about me or what I've said. He can sit there and say, no, deplatforming is wrong because we need to have opposing viewpoints, opposing ideals. Idea A, idea B, the truth is perhaps in the middle. He has no intellect.
You
He's
can
no
disagree with somebody.
He can't do that. He's not smart enough.
Yeah.
Tate's bad today. Okay, tell me when he's good again. He's a bought and sold individual. When my hero arc completes, because we're at a transition stage, when my hero arc completes, and much like Batman, people understand that we thought he was the bad guy, but we realized we needed him. And when I come back to save Gotham, and the hero arc completes, you'll see him and his little boyfriend back on Instagram saying, Tate's funny, and swap again, because it's allowed. That's all he is. He's
That's your prediction for him.
Not prediction, it's absolute matter of fact. Especially, it also couples in with the fact that he's extremely jealous of my brother and I's success, because my brother and I's success is not based on the same successes that he enjoyed. His success is based on being a clown. That's why he has viewers. He puts on a Pokemon suit and he jumps around like a clown. He doesn't sit there and give ideas or say things that make people think to the point where they genuinely resonate with your mindset. He's not intelligent enough for that. He's a performing clown as opposed to a philosopher. So they're different opposite things, and he knows that, and it upsets him. He can't sit in front of a camera by himself and say words that are going to inspire the crowds of any city in the world to shout your name. If I were to walk through Madrid right now, there would be young people shouting my name. Top G, Top G. That's because of what I say. He puts on a Pokemon suit, and does a dance. He's an entertainer. He's not a thinker. They're
Did we
different
not just
things.
have that conversation yesterday?
They're different
like
things.
right. And this is sort of to your credit. We were having this conversation because we knew we'd have this sort of dialogue. And he said, Pat was asking me, Adam, what do you think? I said, you got to understand something about my perspective on Tate is 95% of what I've seen about Tate is camera to the face, him talking and spitting game.
Right.
When you're talking about the Paul brothers, it's fighting, dancing, all sorts of whatever. Right. I've never seen you in the ring. Yeah. I've seen your highlights, but I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So people know your rhetoric. They know what you're saying, and whether they agree or disagree, you're known for what's coming out of your mouth versus they're known for antics.
And that's the difference between a fan and a viewer.
That's what goes back to
your initial point. He has viewers because he's a clown. Clowns can have viewers, that's fine. And you need an algorithm and you need a platform for that. But if you have genuine fans, like I do, they ban me. People are like, to this day, where is Tate? And they will go anywhere I am. Anywhere I am, they will come because they don't believe they can find my rhetoric or my ideas somewhere else. If you ban Logan Paul, they can find another moron to jump around in front of a camera for you. They can promote someone else inside of their algo and steal his entire audience inside of a week. He can disappear and they can replace him. He knows that. That's why he says what he's supposed to say. If I stop being the performing clown, the new performing clown comes, the algo favors him, they put him up there, and he does a stupid dance, and he gets all my viewers. I'm a completely different kettle of fish. Different story.
Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.